My fiancé said he was worried about my mental health. What he really meant was, he was secretly recording me, chopping the videos into little clips and building a highlight reel to prove I was unstable. So he could take my apartment deposit, keep our shared savings, and walk away looking like the victim. He forgot one thing. I work in digital forensics, and I don't lose arguments when there's data. Before we start, if you enjoy long Reddit-style stories about toxic relationships, hidden recordings, manipulation, and legal revenge, hit like, tell me whose side you're on, and subscribe. We're pushing for our first 1,000 subscribers, and it genuinely helps. I'm 28F. My fiancé, Caleb, is 31M. We'd been together for almost 3 years and engaged for 6 months. From the outside, we looked perfect. Cute photo, date nights, matching holiday sweaters, the whole finally found my person thing. Caleb was charming in a curated way. He knew how to say the right things in front of people. He'd open doors, compliment my friends, talk about communication and emotional safety. He also loved the concept of therapy, boundaries, and mental health, but only when he could use those words like weapons. I didn't notice it at first because I'm a pretty calm person. I don't yell. I don't do drama. I'm the friend people call when they want someone to think logically. And that was exactly why Caleb chose me. Because if he could make me look crazy, he could make anyone believe it. Here's the context. I work in a niche corner of tech that overlaps with digital forensics and incident response. Basically, when someone's account gets compromised, when a company has a breach, or when there's a legal dispute involving digital evidence, I get pulled in. I'm not a cop. I'm not some hacker movie character. It's mostly boring: logs, metadata, timestamps, chain of custody. But it has one important side effect. I pay attention to details. Caleb hated that. He always said he loved how smart and focused I was, until it was pointed at him. The first red flag was small. About a month after we got engaged, Caleb started bringing up a prenup conversation. Not as in, let's protect both of us, more like, I need to protect myself. He framed it in this soft voice, like he was being mature. I've seen guys get destroyed in divorce, he said one night. I just want to be careful. I nodded, sure, we can talk about it. Then he added, casually, also, I think we should merge finances after the wedding so everything is simpler. I laughed. Those are opposite directions. He smiled like I'd told a joke. No, I mean merge income but keep separate savings. Like, I don't want to feel used. I raised an eyebrow. Used, I make more than you. That bothered him more than he expected. His smile twitched. I'm not talking about money specifically, he said. I just mean emotionally. Like, I want to know you're committed for the right reasons. That phrase, for the right reasons, became his favorite. It's how he implied I was selfish without saying it. The second red flag was weirder. Caleb started leaving his phone face down, all the time, everywhere. If I walked into a room, he'd casually flip it over or slide it under something like it was a reflex. I didn't accuse him of cheating, because I wasn't looking for that story. But my gut clocked the secrecy. So one day I asked, why do you always hide your phone? He laughed and kissed my forehead. Babe, you're so paranoid sometimes. Paranoid. That word landed wrong. I'm not paranoid, I said. It's just weird. He sighed like I was exhausting. It's called privacy. You should try it. I let it go, but I didn't forget. Then the mental health concern phase started. It happened gradually, like a temperature change you don't notice until you're already sweating. Whenever we disagreed, Caleb started labeling my reaction instead of responding to what I was saying. If I said, "You forgot to pay your half of the rent again," he'd say. "Why are you being so intense?" If I said, "Please don't cancel plans with my family last minute," he'd say, "You're catastrophizing." If I said, "I don't like how you speak to me when you're angry," he'd say, "You're projecting trauma." Trauma. He started talking like he'd swallowed a therapy podcast. And any time I tried to defend myself, he'd tilt his head and look at me with this performative sadness. "I'm just worried about you," he'd say. "You've been so reactive lately." I hadn't been reactive. I'd been responding to him doing shady things. But he'd reframe it so the topic wasn't his behavior, it was my emotions. Classic. The real turning point came over something stupid, our wedding venue. We were touring places, and I loved one that was a little pricier. Not insane, just nicer. Better lighting, better location, fewer hidden fees. Caleb insisted we choose the cheaper venue. Not because we couldn't afford the other one, we could, especially with my income. But because he wanted control. He said, "I don't want to start our marriage with you getting your way on everything." I stared at him. "It's not my way, it's a decision. We're supposed to decide together." He smiled tightly. "That's what I mean. You don't compromise. You think because you're logical you're always right." I felt my temper rise, just a little. "I am compromising," I said. "I've adjusted the guest list. I'm not doing the expensive photographer. I'm literally giving up things I want." He leaned back. "See, you're escalating." Escalating. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't called him names. I was just frustrated. He stood up, grabbed his keys, and said, "I can't do this right now. You're too emotional." And he left. He left me sitting in a venue office with a coordinator, awkwardly pretending not to listen. When he got home later, he acted like nothing happened, like I'd imagined it. Then he said, "I think you should consider therapy before we get married." I blinked, because I wanted a different venue. He sighed like I was proving his point. "I'm not saying you're crazy," he said. "I'm saying your reactions are concerning." That's when it clicked. He wasn't suggesting therapy because he cared. He was building a narrative. 2 days later, my best friend Tessa called me. Tessa is blunt in a way I respect. She said, "Hey, weird question. Are you okay? Like mentally?" I froze. "What?" She hesitated. "Caleb said you've been having episodes, that you get paranoid and accuse him of things, and he's worried you're not stable enough for marriage." My stomach dropped. "He was telling people." I said slowly, "Did he give examples?" "He said you freaked out over his phone," she said. "That you accused him of hiding stuff, and that you get angry out of nowhere." I closed my eyes. I didn't scream, I didn't rage. I got quiet. Because I knew exactly what this was. Step 1, make me look unstable. Step 2, position himself as the patient caretaker. Step 3, when he pulls a stunt, everyone believes him. And I was about to find out what stunt. The next week, something else happened. My fiancé's sister, Bri, posted an Instagram story with a caption that made my chest tighten. It was a screenshot of a group chat. Caleb was in it. And in the chat, someone joked, "Bro, you sure she's not gonna go psycho again?" Caleb replied, "I'm documenting everything now, not getting trapped." Documenting. That word. My blood ran cold. Because documenting means he's collecting evidence. And he said trapped like I was a threat. I screenshot the story before it disappeared. Then I texted Bri, as calmly as I could. "Hey, can you send me the full chat? I saw my name in it." She didn't answer. Caleb came home that night in a suspiciously good mood. He cooked dinner, he complimented me, he was sweet. And I realized something. He thought he was ahead of me. That night when he fell asleep, I did something I'd never done in our relationship. I checked his iPad. We had a shared tablet for streaming and travel planning. He'd logged into it once and never logged out. I wasn't trying to invade his privacy. I was trying to confirm whether I was being paranoid. And the universe basically handed me a confession. In the Files app, there was a folder labeled Personal. Inside it, another folder. Receipts. Inside that, dozens of videos. All of me. Clips of me in the kitchen, in the living room, on the couch, sometimes just existing. And the file names were like her mood 1, irrational 2, paranoid about phone, angry episode, unstable talk. I stared at the screen so long it started to blur. My fiancé had been recording me. In my home. Without my consent. At first, I thought maybe he'd put cameras in the apartment. Then I watched the videos. They weren't from a hidden camera. They were from his phone. He was filming me openly, but sneaky. Like holding his phone in his lap, pointing it at me while pretending to scroll. Or standing behind the kitchen island, with the camera barely peeking over. And the worst part, he'd only filmed the middle of arguments. He never filmed what started them. He never filmed him saying something cruel. He filmed my reaction. My face. My voice. My frustration. So in his clips, I looked like the problem. It was like someone cutting a movie, so the villain looks like the hero. I felt like I was going to throw up. But then my brain did what it always does when I'm terrified. It got organized. Because I noticed something else. Metadata. Timestamps. The file creation dates didn't match what he'd told me. One video labeled Angry Episode was created on a night he claimed he'd been at his mom's house. Another video was created at 2:14 a.m. on a night he told me he was asleep. And one file, Paranoid About Phone, had been edited. I could see the export time. He'd cut it down. Meaning he wasn't just recording. He was producing. He was building a case. My heart was pounding, but I didn't wake him up. I didn't confront him. I did something better. I copied the entire folder. Every video, every file, every metadata detail. I saved it to my own secure drive. Then I checked his cloud storage. And there it was again. A shared album with a name that made me feel like ice water hit my spine. Proof. He had a folder called Proof. The next morning, I acted normal. I kissed him goodbye. I went to work. And at lunch, I called a lawyer. Not for revenge. For protection. Because where I live, recording someone in their home without consent can be illegal. And it can matter in family court, and it can matter in employment, and it can matter in how you negotiate a breakup. And I wasn't going to be caught unprepared. My lawyer listened quietly, then said, "You need to assume he's building a narrative that you're unstable so he can break the lease, take shared assets, and walk away clean." I swallowed. Can he do that? He can try, she said. But you have evidence that he manipulated and selectively edited. That's huge. Then she asked the most important question. Do you have any proof of what he says to you before you react? I hesitated. I had some text, some voice notes, nothing solid. Then I remembered something. Our living room had a smart speaker that occasionally lit up and recorded commands. And my laptop, my work laptop, ran a security log. Not audio, but it logged when devices connected to our home network. Meaning I could show when his phone was uploading files, when he was editing, When he was documenting, I wasn't crazy. I was about to be very, very prepared. That weekend, Caleb pulled his move. He sat me down and said, in the calmest voice, "I don't think we should get married." I nodded, "Okay." He blinked, "That's all you have to say." I shrugged lightly, "If you don't want to marry me, you shouldn't." He cleared his throat. I'm concerned," he said. "You've been having a lot of emotional swings. You accuse me of things. You're paranoid. And I can't marry someone who might snap." Snap. He said it like I was a bomb. Then he did the thing I expected. He said, "I think it's best if you move out for a bit. My parents offered me their guest room, but honestly, I think you need space, and I need to feel safe." I stared at him. This man was trying to kick me out of my own apartment. The apartment that was in my name. He lived here because I added him to the lease later. He contributed less. He wanted me gone so he could keep the place. I kept my voice calm. "Why would I move out?" I asked. He sighed. "See, this is what I mean. You don't listen. You get defensive." Defensive. He was reading from a script. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He said, "I've been documenting your episodes. I don't want to do this, but if you make this messy, I'll have to show people." There it was. The threat. My fiancé was blackmailing me with edited videos of me, in my own home. I looked at his phone and said softly, "Caleb, you recorded me without telling me." He didn't deny it. He said I had to. "You twist things. I needed proof." I nodded slowly. "Okay," I said, "send me the videos." His eyes narrowed. "Why?" "So I can show my therapist," I lied smoothly. "If I'm truly unstable, I want to see it." He hesitated. Then he said, "Fine, I'll send a few." A few. He wanted to control which clips I saw. Which was perfect, because I already had all of them. That night after he went to sleep, I packed. Not everything, just essentials. Documents, laptop, passport, some clothes, and every piece of evidence. I went to my friend Tessa's apartment. The next morning, I sent Caleb one text. "I'm safe. Do not contact my friends or family with your narrative. My lawyer will communicate from here." He lost his mind. He called, texted, voicemailed. First he begged, "Please talk to me. You're proving my point. Running away is exactly what you do." Then he threatened, "If you don't come back, I'll show everyone the videos. You'll look insane." Then he switched to sweet again. "Babe, I'm just trying to help. Come home, we can fix this." I didn't respond. Instead, my lawyer responded. And this is where his plan collapsed. My lawyer sent him a formal letter. It stated, "The apartment lease is in my name, and he is to remove his belongings and vacate by a specified date. Any distribution of privately recorded footage taken in our home without consent may violate privacy laws, and we would pursue civil remedies. We are in possession of the original unedited files, including metadata indicating selective editing and misleading labeling. Any attempt to portray me as mentally unstable to employers, friends, or family would be considered harassment and defamation." The letter ended with, "Cease and desist." Caleb panicked. He texted me from a new number. "What do you mean, you have the original files?" I didn't answer. He called Tessa. She blocked him. He called my mom. My mom said, "Stop contacting my daughter." He called my boss. Yes, my boss. He left a voicemail saying he was concerned for my mental health and wanted them to keep an eye on me. My boss forwarded it to HR, and HR forwarded it to my lawyer. Caleb was digging his own grave with both hands. 2 days later, I got an email from his sister Bri. It was one line. "I didn't know he was doing that. I'm sorry. He told us you were abusive." Attached was a screenshot of a message Caleb had sent in the family chat. "I'm gonna end it and make her look unstable. I'm not paying her back for the deposit. I'll show the clips if she fights it." There it was. Intent. Not concern. A plan. I forwarded it to my lawyer. She replied, "Perfect." We scheduled a time for me to retrieve my remaining things with a police escort present. Not because Caleb had hit me. Because I didn't trust what he'd do when his narrative collapsed. When we arrived, Caleb looked like a man who hadn't slept. He tried to act calm in front of the officer. He said, "She's been unstable. I'm just glad she's safe." The officer looked at me. I said, "I'm fine. I'm here to get my belongings." Then Caleb did something stupid. He tried to show the officer a clip. He pulled out his phone, opened one of the edited videos and said, "See, this is what I've dealt with." The officer watched 10 seconds, then looked at me again. "Ma'am, were you aware he was recording you?" the officer asked. "No," I said, "and I have the full unedited versions." Caleb's face changed. "What?" he snapped, forgetting the officer was there. I turned to the officer and said, "He's been recording me secretly for months and labeling them as proof to use against me. My lawyer has the originals." The officer's expression went from neutral to sharply interested. He said, "Sir, you understand recording someone in their home without consent can be illegal depending on the circumstances, right?" Caleb swallowed. I was protecting myself," he said. The officer said, "That's not how that works." After we got my things, my lawyer filed for a protective order based on harassment and the attempt to contact my workplace, plus the evidence of a coordinated smear campaign. We didn't need it long-term, but it sent a message. Then we went after money. Because Caleb had done one more thing. We had a shared savings account for the wedding, around $12,000. Most of it was mine. He promised to contribute monthly and didn't. The day after he tried to kick me out, he moved the money into his personal account. He thought that since we weren't married, it was a free-for-all. My lawyer disagreed. We sent him a demand letter with evidence of contributions. He tried to argue it was a gift. Then we sent the family chat screenshot. "I'm not paying her back for the deposit." And suddenly, he wanted to negotiate. The settlement was simple. He returned my portion of the savings. He paid back the apartment deposit he owed. He signed an agreement not to distribute any recordings. He agreed not to contact my workplace again. In exchange, I didn't pursue criminal charges for the recordings. I just wanted my life back. Here's the part that still makes me laugh sometimes. 2 weeks after everything, I ran into Caleb at a coffee shop. He looked smaller, like his confidence had leaked out. He tried to do the concerned face again. He said, "I hope you're getting help." I smiled politely. "I am," I said, "for the trauma of being secretly recorded by someone I trusted." He flinched. Then I said the truth. "You weren't documenting my instability. You were documenting your control." And I walked out. I'm telling this story because I wish someone had told me what to watch for. If your partner labels your normal boundaries as episodes, tells your friends you're unstable, records you without consent, edits your reactions and hides their provocation, threatens to show people to control you, that's not love. That's manipulation with a camera. And the funniest part, He thought the recordings gave him power. They gave me evidence. So what do you think? If you found out your fiancé was secretly recording you to prove you're crazy, would you confront them? Or would you do what I did? Copy the files, preserve the metadata, call a lawyer, and let the facts speak for themselves. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, hit like, tell me whose side you're on in the comments, and subscribe for more full Reddit-style relationship stories, toxic family drama, and legal revenge every day.